Carl, thank you so much for coming to talk to me. First, I know you have a Kickstarter coming out, but I want to hear a little bit about you before we talk about it.
All right, well, yeah, it's definitely good to be here. Yeah, my name's Karl Huber. I am a special effects artist, filmmaker, and photographer in St. Pete. Right now I'm just trying to do as many promo junkets as I can to promote the Kickstarter for the new film that I'm working on.
And that film is Four Vacancies. Can you tell me the basic premise where you got the idea for it from?
It kind of started from a photo shoot back in 2018. I was just doing photography and stuff like that. Hold on here. Yeah, there was a concept of like I don't know, hot girl in the bloody naked bathtub shoot. People have probably seen photos of that before, but I just wanted to do my version, make it kind of creepy, eerie, but also have like that sexy tone to it for the horror fans mostly. And I don't know, when I edited the photos back then, you could post implied nudity on Facebook horror groups. I attached this story to it about, I don't know, some kind of shape-shifting entity that's had been going from town to town, staying in motels and just picking people up from bars, delivery drivers, and that's kind of what it was. And when I posted the story, I was like, why the hell did I even write that article? People are just gonna post a bunch of perverted shit about the photo shoot. But they did. But there was also a lot of people who thought that was an actual movie that I was promoting. And just really got into the story and wanted to know more about it. So I kind of spent the next couple of years not really developing that story, but just trying to figure out a way to turn that into a feature with other characters, not just have that be a standalone movie for 90 minutes. Uh, and yeah, for 3 years, wrote that story first and then just kind of wrote in these other characters staying in three different rooms all on the same night and how that kind of interacts on the timeline and just sort of how they all connect.
Okay, so you in your Kickstarter video, you describe Four Vacancies as a gore-filled horror comedy. So hearing about how this idea came to be with all these, like sexy, sultry, bloody ladies, that's definitely horror. Where did the comedy aspect come in?
The comedy aspect, it's sort of situational comedy, a lot of like what the fuck moments in the gore area. There's not, I don't really like comedy movies where it's just loaded with these intentional jokes. It just feels like you're just trying to force laughter. So it's definitely, I guess, in a real life situation, it's not comical, but if you're watching it on screen and just, you know, how a lot of comedy horrors are done in a situational way. Like it's not supposed to be funny, but it's just so fucked up you can't help but laugh.
I
One of
love
those type.
that. Um, now this movie will take place in four rooms, right?
Yes, in the same motel, all in one night.
Okay. That said, is Four Vacancies going to be more of an anthology style movie, or does it have like a very linear story?
It's not really linear. It is leaning more on the anthology side, um, but it's a lot more cleaner than what we would see in a normal anthology film. Because I mean, most of them nowadays are just kind of composed of short films made by different directors. One isn't really connected to the other. It's just a bunch of random films all bundled into an hour and a half, 2 hour package there. As to where this one, it's definitely not linear, but we are focusing on one story at a time, just like anthology style. But there is, we do have an arc. The motel manager, which isn't, he's not really mentioned too much in the campaign, but each character has an interaction with him, and he is kind of just there to quickly, uh, quickly make an introduction for the characters, and even offer a little bit of foreshadowing as to what is about to happen, very subtly though.
Okay, I like that. I like that. In your video, you also talk about some creative goals that you have. Do you have any kind of like cinematic style or visual influences that will kind of guide how this film will go?
I'd probably, by that I mean, well, by that you mean like referring to other filmmakers and their style.
Yes.
Uh, you know, Robert Rodriguez from Dusk Till Dawn. That's another one I kind of see as a comedy horror right there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, the visuals there. I don't, you know, it's I kind of want to. Didn't really think about it in that ways. I do have my own style. Like I have made several films before. And they all.
What would you say your style is?
It's very. I mean, it's not weird in a way to where it's not understandable, but it's when I first started getting into filmmaking and special effects, drama is what I kind of wanted to lean into. So I did make a couple of dramatic things. I did use mostly stabilizers instead of handheld or just having it on a sit there on a tripod. But I was also using wide angle lenses at the time. But since then, I've kind of like adapted my lenses to more macro, more narrow lenses as I started learning. So I guess we could say there is going to be that hint of Robert Rodriguez, I don't know, earlier stuff, you know, Desperado from Dusk Till Dawn, so the way it's shot with that. Um, and I guess just sort of mixed with the cinematographer that Rob Zombie uses, I don't know, for his earlier stuff. We'll say House of a Thousand Corpses or Devil's Rejects. Like, there'll be a mixture in there, but it's
Okay.
all going to be clean enough to where it looks like you're watching one cohesive film here.
I was gonna say, are we gonna have like a gritty, grimy look? Because that's what I think of when I think of like earlier Rob Zombie films.
It it has that look, but there is that professional quality. Because he, as far as I know, well, from what I've seen, he doesn't use a lot of wide angle lenses. It is the characters, especially in the intense moments, the characters kind of fill up the screen.
Yeah.
As to where there's not a lot of background, it just and it's handheld. There's a lot of intensity built up there. I don't know if you saw any of my previous film work that was attached to the Kickstarter. It was at the very
No, I
bottom.
haven't, but I'm gonna go look at it now though.
There's one that's it's called Dorset, and it's actually one. We did that all in one continuous take. I had a cinematographer for that one, but all the special effects in there are practical, which is a lot of. There was a lot of complicated stuff. I made that film when once I started Crimson Hands FX, which is my FX company. I made that film to kind of show people what we can do in terms of gunshots, complex zombie makeup, blood pouring gags. There was really everything in there is very complicated to do, even if you're just trying to get a 3 second shot. And a lot of people have to cheat it. So that's why I wanted to do this one continuous take to show any filmmaker, anyone who wanted a special effects artist, like we were the people that you wanted to go to for that. It ended up getting 8 million views on Crypt TV,
Holy
which
crap.
Yeah, it would have been a lot cooler if we got some of that traffic, but the way Crypt TV sets up their videos when people submit a video to have it air on Crypt TV, they have you cut off your credits at the beginning and end so they can put
Oh,
their Crypt TV logo. And they say, we're going to credit everybody in the comments. Well, not comments, but the video description. But how many people read the video description?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't even tell me when they posted it. I found out like almost 12 hours after it was on YouTube. I just came across the video and saw that it had almost 100,000 views at that point. So I was excited about that until I started reading comments, and it's like, oh, Crypt TV makes the best stuff, and just everyone,
Oh,
it was bad. And I had to have it off my social media for a whole year. So yeah, the lesson there is don't submit anything to Crypt TV.
I won't. So let's talk about the Four Vacancies production, planning, budgeting, all that kind of stuff. Do you have a proposed timeline that you think this will go by?
Right now, filming, I plan on starting filming sometime in early December, either December or January. It depends on what's happening during that time. But currently, I am doing a lot of pre-production stuff. I write my own storyboards. I do a lot of the pre-production stuff. It's very bare bones. There's usually people that have hire an entire team to do this, but I just sit in front of my computer, draw up the shot list, storyboard, all that stuff, things that we need. The one thing I did do was hire a line producer to get the budget. So that's where the $250,000 is coming from. They already scaled it down. That's what we need. A lot of it is for camera, crew, location, especially licensing, insurance, because practical, stuff like that, we will probably need some insurance because some of this stuff could be very dangerous if anything goes wrong. And another big portion is, of course, the special effects. We are going to be doing full creature concepts, a lot of blood and gore for every single story.
Yes.
Yeah, it is just going to be a no holds bar on this thing. Yeah, we're
So,
definitely with the Terrifier series on this one.
oh, okay, okay. Can you let me in on anything that we might be seeing?
Oh man. Well,
It's okay if you don't want to give anything away. That's fine.
there's, there's, I wouldn't say a decent amount of the storyboard, but there's a pretty good idea from the storyboard concepts of what you might be seeing. But yeah, it's there's just going to be mangled bodies, severed limbs, people getting shot up, people getting slashed up, people even being eaten. So yeah, all the elements of a comedy film.
Do you have an idea of how many gallons of blood you'll be using?
A lot. I will probably say, damn, probably well over 100. Luckily,
Holy
I,
crap.
luckily I know how to make this stuff because that would be expensive buying it.
Do you have a special blend that you like to use?
I do. I did, and a lot of people do this. They either go with corn syrup or red food coloring, or chocolate syrup and red food coloring. But recently, I started using um, clear Elmer's glue, a mixture of water, mostly red food coloring, and bits of greens, blues, and yellows, just to kind of give it that bloody, that rust blood color. Because red by itself has a pinkish tone.
Yeah. What's
Um,
the difference between using Elmer's glue and using corn syrup? Is like it a texture thing or I
there's
don't
not
know,
really
does one behave better than the other one?
I mean, it does feel like the Elmer's glue does wash out of clothes a lot easier, but another big thing is ants. Chocolate
Yeah.
syrup, arrow syrup. If you miss a spot, ants are going to be able to find it. So that's one thing is to where the Elmer's glue, no one is interested in that. Uh, and it just feels like the cleanup. I was just on a film shoot about a week ago where the killer hacks up a person inside a room, and we got blood everywhere, all over the walls, the ceiling, just anywhere. And it's like painted walls. I've gotten blood on these types of surfaces before with the Caro syrup, and we gotta come in there with some Clorox, spray this down, and just let it all sit for about a half hour before we can actually start cleaning. The Elmer's glue mixture ended up, for the most part, if it was just freshly there, we could just wipe it with a wet rag and it came off.
I didn't even think about ants. I've heard people using one kind over another for getting out of clothes, and that makes a lot of sense. But I never thought about the ants before, and that makes total sense. I would hate I would hate ants just everywhere.
There was a short film I did where and that's also that short film was also at the bottom of the Kickstarter campaign. And that was actually a comedy horror. We did it for a creature feature challenge where you had 2 weeks to make a short film from start to finish. And once the challenge started, they randomly picked for every filmmaker a specific creature and a genre. So for me, I had mockumentary and innocently, and I've never done mockumentary before. I like to do things on a cinematic scale. Um, but we use my house because you can't really see it, but there's faces, big masks, stuff
Yeah.
on the walls there. It looks like a serial killer lives here. And I knew a girl who had a very cute, innocent look who was a just up and coming actress. So I pitched her the idea is like, you want to play a serial killer who kills people and makes decorative art pieces out of them, like while doing it in a mockumentary style. Like she's doing an interview, and as she's, at first it all looks innocent. You're just like, all right, is this girl fucking with us? But as she goes further into the house, you kind of see all the like weird shit that's made, and all the way up to the kill scenes. We got a nice montage of kill scenes at the end where it it's pretty extensive. Gunshot, slit throat,
Oh my
woman getting
gosh.
her face torn off. Yeah, you see that this girl's not fucking around. Um, but the slit throat one, she sliced the girl's throat and like directs the blood spray on a canvas. Um, I went ahead and that was when we did corn syrup and food coloring. I went ahead and kept that canvas for about 3 weeks. And one day I walked past it and I just saw this trail of ants
Oh no.
coming from outside my back door and just trailing on the wall,
Oh
covering.
no. I bet you
Yeah,
learned your lesson
I had
though.
to chuck that. But yeah, they if you have exposed corn syrup or any sugar, ants will find a way to get to it. That's what I've learned the hard way.
I can only imagine. Okay, so the Four Vacancies Kickstarter has some perks. Can you talk a little bit about the perks we might see?
Definitely, a lot of stuff on the cheaper end. If you don't have a lot of money, we got a copy of the digital copy of the script, digital download of the film when it's finished. I just added another perk on there. I don't really know where to budget that, but you'll get a digital copy of the storyboard. And if you go to the Kickstarter, you can already see some storyboard concepts. But you'll get the full one once I finish that. It takes a while to draw those little frames. Um, Also VHS copies, Blu-ray. Um, for $25, you get a 1 year subscription to my Nocturnal Dreams photography Patreon page, which is, if you like hot naked girls
Who doesn't?
wearing masks or just covered in scars or blood or just whatever kind of creative shit I could think of, that is a good page to go to. Nice little perk to have. We have for the higher end tiers, we have producer package. We have a what is it? Brand promo or brand ambassador package. So I think for I don't know $250, you can either put your website link, a brand you have, just really anything that you make, Etsy page, just whatever you want in a horror film. We'll get that out there. We have a segment where there's a social media influencer that's trying to revamp his views or by live streaming his stay in this suicide room that they had closed off for about 40 years. So there is a little segment where he is kind of like plugging brands. So I actually made up all these fake brands in the scripts, but then that came to me and I was like, oh, fuck it, let's see if anybody wants to advertise their own stuff
That's a
and have it
cool
be on board.
idea.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully people uh, donate to that tier. So also, if you want to be an actor, you want to be an extra, you want to be killed on screen, or even if you just want to hang out on set for a day, those are just some of the perks. There's a lot of stuff, but
So you mentioned one of the rooms has, it's known as a suicide room, and there's going to be a social media person there. Is there any segment in particular of Four Vacancies that you're most excited about?
uh, I would probably say, yeah, it's probably that one, because we do getting to the ghost parts. Spoiler alert, there actually are ghosts in this room of the people that killed themselves. So making the very different ways that all these people just sort of off themselves
Yeah.
and displaying that when that's finally revealed to the character right before he kind of meets his own fate. definitely definitely showcasing that. That's gonna be creepy as hell. That whole setup is not meant to be funny at all. That is meant to be very unnerving. Um, but yeah, every single one of these definitely has a big special effects challenge in it, which is just what I really love about that whole thing is that it just challenges me personally, and that's kind of why I even got into special effects. I didn't even want to be a special effects artist when I started filmmaking. It was just horror was all I knew when I started buying film equipment, and I just didn't know any special effects artists at the time. So started off small with little cuts, bruises, and then just kept on, you know, the school of YouTube there sort of helped me out at
Yeah.
first, learning how to live cast and what kind of materials to use. And yeah, it's an ever evolving business. You're never gonna not be learning something new as a special effects artist, which is just fucking awesome.
Is there a certain special effect that you love doing the most, whether it's in Four Vacancies or not? Which one do you love doing the most, and which one do you love seeing the most?
You know what? We'll go with love seeing the most, because it is, it can be pretty nerve-wracking on set doing any of these, especially blood gags, because even when you do it the right way, something can still go wrong. Like, like a slit throat.
Yeah.
Or I guess a perfect example, you remember Friday the 13th, Kevin Bacon's death scene,
Yes.
where yeah, the harpoon just
Yeah.
impales him from behind and blood comes out. Tom Savini set up that gag, and he had an assistant. They had this enormous air pressure canister full of blood. And this is a story from him on one of his documentaries. Harpoon gun, harpoon goes through Kevin Bacon's neck. You don't see any blood at first because as soon as it comes through, they just press on the trigger there as hard as they could, and the fucking blood tube just blows out. So his assistant just grabbed the tube and started blowing into it as hard as he could with whatever residual blood was in there. And that's why you have that little delay when the harpoon comes out at first. But yeah, like stuff like that happens even with professionals. You can just have it all set up and something goes wrong, and you want to set it up to where you can reset as quickly as possible. So I guess a good tip for anyone out there, if you are going to be doing throat slit gags, avoid wearing bright colors, especially white. A black shirt or just a dark shirt, because if the spray doesn't look right at first, or kind of drizzles out a little bit when you're kind of prepping, you want to try and track the blood, which is you pump the blood into the tube as far as you can get without it coming out. That way it comes out on cue. But sometimes people just sort of blow it or just pump it a little too hard and blood will squirt out. And if you're wearing a white shirt and you don't have another white shirt, you're kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's definitely those effects when they go great. Squibs, throat slits, any kind of blood spray. It's great to watch them on the playback afterwards after you pull it off.
It is. It's very exciting. I love every moment of it. I
The
I
very
just think
nerve-wracking
that
process to set up, but watching it at the end is great.
yeah, I think pretty much like I myself am not a special effects person, obviously, but I have such an appreciation for what you guys do because you really sell it. Like even when the effects are bad, they're still great.
Yeah, a lot better than a lot of the CGI stuff.
Yes, yes. I don't remember who said it. It may have been Stephen King, I'm not sure, but they said that it should always be practical. The CG should be used to, hide the zipper on the monster, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. Like practical and visual can go hand in hand just in that aspect. But the blood spray stuff, I don't know. It's just even in films nowadays with a big budget, they just use these shitty blood spray plugins where the blood just kind of like evaporates before it even hits the ground.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, practical 100%.
Do you have any plan Bs for in case this crowdfunding doesn't reach its goal?
Plan B's is probably just figuring out what went wrong and starting over. A lot of people say Kickstarter isn't really the best platform for filmmakers. A lot of them go with Indiegogo because if you don't reach the goal with Indiegogo, you still get the money.
Yeah.
But to me, that's still just kind of seems like a waste because we need $250,000 to make it. And if we don't reach that, we still can't make the film. You know, it'd be different if there were people around me, like people I knew that was like, oh, just reach this amount and we'll match it. But
Yeah.
I don't know anyone with money. So, and one of the bigger reasons why 40% of Indiegogo or Kickstarter campaigns fail is just because people don't do any pre-launch planning. They spend all their time and effort making their Kickstarter Indiegogo page, and then they just launch it immediately and share it around to family and friends. And big surprise, it doesn't come anywhere near the goal they were trying to meet, even if they have a fan base. Um, yeah, so you gotta go out there, get the leads. thousands of them for stuff like this. We're already at about 3,000 leads um, that I've collected just on this campaign alone.
Awesome.
Yeah. There's, and I've looked into the research. They're saying that there's a good chance it'll get funded, but I want to try and get at least another 2,000 more leads before I actually launch, just to be on the safe side.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're definitely in a good spot to have this thing funded. I am working every day on just not only pre-production, but just getting more leads, meeting new people, um, and just, kind of tweaking the both pre-launch and Kickstarter campaign to just, yeah, get it out there and make it as interesting and fascinating to as many people as possible.
All right, last question. Now is your time to say whatever you want about Four Vacancies, why we should contribute, um, anything you want to say.
A lot. It's just going to be one fuck of a good roller coaster right there. Just if you are into blood, gore, guts, creatures, it's even going to be some tasteful nudity in there. Uh, I promise. Um, and also just the perks alone. If you are trying to get a foot into the door in the film industry and just don't want to do what a lot of us did. I think I spent around $40,000 just to start out with film equipment and special effects and making my own short films before I even started networking. Like, just people will not give you the time of day, even with high-end equipment or experience, unless you actually have film credits on IMDb. So you can just kind of expedite that with producer credits, executive producer credits, buying a spot into the film as an actor or an extra. Um, yeah, it's not it's not really donating. You're buying perks, and if everyone gets it out there, we'll have a really great film at the end. One that is not CGI and one that is just not watered down from, to please studios and stuff like that, which is just always the biggest issue with horror films right now.
Yeah, and I think the best thing is that you're supporting indie horror.
Oh yeah, always.